Hey everybody, it's Tyler Esselman.
And it's Michael Osinski.
And you are listening to, and most probably watching, This One Goes to 11.
This One Goes to 11 is the podcast where we invite someone to share with us an album that they believe is perfect.
So perfect, Michael, that 10 out of 10 just isn't good enough. Do you think most of our viewers are watching the video? We should do some look. We should look at the data and see if there's any indication of that. Are you guys watching this on video? Are we doing?
I think it's wildly different depending on the episode. I mean, maybe what we need to do is we need to start referencing things that if they're not watching, they won't be able to appreciate. Like
what color shirt was Michael wearing?
Well, I'm thinking something more exciting than that. Oh my God, like he's like, why is so much snot coming out of your nose, Tyler? Or like,
what is this? Who are you? It's not you.
Or like, oh my God, Tyler, you dyed your beard green? You know, like those sorts of things.
I would, wouldn't I? That just sounds like me.
For the right reason, like not just for no reason.
Right. To what end? That's the question
we
love asking.
With purpose.
So, okay, everybody, thanks for coming back. We enjoy having you each week into our virtual living room to talk a little tunes with you. As you might remember, all of our guests this season for our 10th season are repeats. And they were given the task of nominating 4 albums that they believe are perfect from before they were born. We've got an auspicious guest this week, Michael. Right? We are welcoming back one of our most famous guests, the most talked about guests. Michael, who are we speaking to?
We are speaking with Doug Morrell. Hey, Doug.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Very well. How about you?
I'm getting by, you know.
Yeah.
But my Saturday is looking up now that you guys are both in frame.
Oh, yeah. We've been looking forward to this. It's I'm not kidding when you say our episode with you, our first episode with you on Switched On Bach, it was kind of a turning point in terms of like the kind of stuff we were talking about on this podcast.
I wasn't sure if you had massive defections or whatever after that, but
no, it's only gone onward and upward,
I was shocked to be invited back, but I'm honored.
The fact that you say massive, we appreciate that you think we have that huge a fan base, Doug. Like that is
non-zero amounts of defection.
You mean you don't have the Smartless audience too here?
We're close.
Those guys are crazy. And the Dax Shepard stuff, I don't know if you've ever listened to his podcast. It's crazy. It's like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are really, really getting that ironed out. I mean,
we like to call them big podcast. That's kind of like
I think
big podcast.
And I think the term pod is too small for that kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
really, it's more like a cloudcast or
Cloudcast,
I mean, they've even started like their own like wireless network too, which is sort of like. So. I mean, talk about taking over media, like, Jesus.
Yeah. Man, that's going to be on our economics podcast, but we've got serious business.
Ooh. Okay.
We've got serious business. The reason why we had you back, Doug, is because we knew that after you proposed Switched On Bach and won its inclusion in the Pantheon, we knew you would have some other goodness for us. Maybe a little bit of something off the wall. A little something digging through the crates with Doug. We'd call that that would be your segment on the pod. But tell us, what album hast thou brought before This One Goes to 11 tribunal for your second appearance?
Well, and I think just to kind of put it in perspective for everybody, since we've glossed over the key part of your season 10 is that it has to be a recording made before I was born.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So that, I was going to, before when I first got the invite, I was thinking, we can talk about Pink Floyd or The Who or some Jeff Beck stuff or, it's a whole range of cool music. But okay. So now given that my year of my birth was in the very, very late 50s, the Stone Age for most listeners.
They had music then. I'm pretty sure
they had music, but boy, was it different, So
right,
and I could drag up some classical works, perhaps, but but then I thought, look, what do we got out there that's truly innovative, that for its time, but yet was the first and like a stepping stone to all future recorded music, no matter the genre.
Right.
Because what happened with this particular album and set of albums and recordings really set the stage for like the total explosion of recorded music in terms of leveraging technology.
But what is it though? You still haven't said the name.
Well, yes, it's a mystery, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what we're going to talk about today is the duo of Les Paul and Mary Ford, and particularly, I mean, there's a lot of albums that they have, but the one that I have handy is one called Greatest Hits.
Mm.
Now, Les Paul, to I think a lot of your rock-oriented listeners, is going to be a household name.
Right.
Oh, that's the guitar, right?
Right.
That's the guitar. Well, yes, it is. And Les Paul's name is on that guitar.
It is.
And he is a forerunner in the development of the electric guitar.
Right. A luthier.
Yes, he was a luthier, hand built. He built his first electric guitar out of a 4x4,
Crazy.
strings, and some electronic pickups.
That's insane.
And routed them into an amplifier and a speaker. So
this guy's the guy. This guy's the guy.
He is the guy.
You're whetting the audience's appetite. This is I want to stop us before we get too deep on him just yet, because I have a segment that you're going to start arguing for. We're talking about how high the moon, right?
Yeah,
that's the one. That's the one we're talking about.
That's their big hit. Yeah.
Right, by Les Paul and Mary Ford.
That's right.
So I'm not, I think you're right that anybody who's probably has some knowledge of guitar, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. This is perfect fodder for everyone's favorite segment. We can't skip everyone's favorite segment, right, Michael?
I know. It's
there would be
defending
anarchy.
Your life or something.
There would be anarchy if I couldn't abide it.
Yeah.
And so what's that segment called?
That segment is called The Beginner's Guide to Les Paul and Mary Ford's How High the Moon in 60 Seconds, delivered by Tyler Esselman.
Yep.
Okay.
I have the task today of summarizing the kind of context of Les Paul and Mary Ford and this recording, and so you'll get to decide. You'll get to assess me and how I do.
Yeah.
Doug,
thanks for the refresher.
Right, in any terms you see fit. Okay, Michael, do you have the timer ready?
I sure do.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
If you have even a passing knowledge of guitar history, the name Les Paul might be familiar, but he's much more than a name on an axe. Paul, born Lester Pulsfuss in Waukesha, Wisconsin in 1915, was not only a virtuosic and iconoclastic guitarist, but also an inventor of and great magician with audio recording technology. Many of the tools and methods he developed, often in concert with many of the other brightest musical minds of his era, have become mainstays in sound engineering across media. A shining example of this is his and his wife, Mary Ford's 1951 recording of jazz standard How High the Moon, one of the first widely released singles to use multi-track recording to create a richly layered musical experience until then unheard of. Paul and Ford, born Iris Summers in El Monte, California, were first introduced by none other than Gene Autry and combined Paul's dazzling guitar prowess and technical ingenuity with Ford's pure, enrapturing voice to dominate the charts in the 1950s. A bitter divorce in 1964 would bring an end to their musical partnership as well, but music lovers across the world have the Ford-Paul collaboration to thank for bringing a new world of possibilities to our ears.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. What else can we talk about?
Yeah. Are we done? We're done.
That's it. Good about that one.
I'm going to have to come up with some more factoids.
So wait, how did I do? How would you assess my job summarizing them?
You nailed it. You nailed it on the head and elsewhere, I would say.
Good. Good.
It's
fun. We've got a long way to go. But before we do that, we've been starting these episodes this season by kind of asking a version of our typical question that we ask. But since you've been on before, we got to catch up a little bit with you and if you hear how you're doing. There's some big stuff that's happened in your life recently related to our mutual friend Andrew Morrell, your son, and he is a father now. And it's a new era. It's this time in life. How's it been? Has it been good?
Yes, it's been spectacular. I mean, it's amazing. Yes, my wife and I, we are grandparents, and we have plural grandchildren.
Twins, baby. Crazy.
Yes, twins arrived,
And they're beautiful.
They are something else. We see them now. We've seen them about every 6 weeks. They're up in Chicago, so they're not right next door, but they grow fast and change constantly.
Yeah. I'm so happy for you guys. They're beautiful boys, and I'm gonna see them in a few weeks, and so I'm really excited to see him again. But that's my buddy right there. My buddy's a dad. That's pretty cool. Like it's kind of surreal. It's still kind of surreal to think about, honestly. Well, okay. So on that token, kind of like what kind of music are you listening to these days? What's music doing for you in this time in your life? Like what role is it playing?
That's an interesting topic. What I'm finding is that my entertainment sources are really coming through streaming.
Yeah.
Not like Spotify so much. Some, but not as much. And also I've got DVDs and other things. I gravitate back to the bands and groups and artists that I know well. I'm not listening to an awful lot of new music, but we also enjoy like watching on streaming things, the documentaries about bands and musicians and et cetera. Like I'm thinking like the Questlove documentary last year. Yeah, that was real good. I mean, and it's one of those things where I vaguely remember that going on, but it didn't really sink in, dial into really what that whole thing going on in New York and soul and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I think we watched there was the Woodstock reunion. I don't know what you call it, like the 10th or 20th anniversary Woodstock that went sideways.
Yeah.
That was a crazy
96?
Story.
Was that what it was?
99.
99.
Woodstock
99.
Yeah. Oof, yeah.
99. I mean,
kind of a dark story, isn't it?
Yep.
It is, and this image of Flea bounding out the stage without any pants on is just something I can't see again.
Yeah.
And he was on Finding Your Roots the other night, and I was like, oh, this is the same guy
Flea is fascinating to me because he's on stage. He's like, yeah, I'll take my clothes off and like play totally naked and jump all over the place. And then he's on Finding Your Roots. Like it's like
crazy.
Which is on PBS. It's weird.
Yeah,
I think he's a very thoughtful guy. Like I think he's actually
he is. He's very articulate. He's talented, and
he's just a madman too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens in both. I feel like that's kind of a Tom Waits thing too, isn't he? Kind of like he's so articulate, so intellectual, such a thoughtful person, but also a total scoundrel.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I don't think Les Paul was like that, but
No. Les was pretty wholesome. And, it's just the other thing. I find myself in the rabbit hole of Facebook videos because it keeps feeding up vintage concerts and stuff to me that like, oh yeah, I haven't seen this one or
God,
I don't know where they find this stuff because it wasn't around when, I don't know.
It's all been archived, I guess, or it's AI. That kind of
I guess. No, I hope not. But I've seen some interesting things, and it's led me down some just rabbit holes, which I don't know if we need to get into right now. But
it's fun though, isn't it? We're living in a golden age of just being able to go on a deep dive on something you want to. If you got the curiosity for it, man, we've never lived in a better era than in terms of accessibility of that kind of information.
Oh yeah. I really wish it were around when I was, like your age even. To 20, 30 years ago would have been cool. Yeah. Interesting. Lots of stuff kind of keeps coming in, through that internet channel. I haven't bought any records in a little while.
But you have a decent collection of records, right? Don't you? I can't really remember.
Yeah, I've got about 200 LPs and equally or more that number of CDs between the two of us. Yeah.
Are you gonna hang on to the CDs?
I'm hanging on to them.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure whether I like, because honestly, sometimes I go to record stores and I have an impulse to buy a CD, and I'm like, why? Why do I want to do that? And I feel like there has to be a reason. I don't think it's a foolish purchase entirely. You know what I mean? Am I wrong in that?
I think the sound quality on the CDs, you're not going to get it through streaming, I don't think. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to hear the whole thing,
Might as well get the
and you
vinyl.
don't want the
Yeah.
LP, or you don't have
Mhm.
an LP, record player, which is where I am now. I foolishly sold my
But you could get a nice
father's
one though. They're not that
turntable.
expensive. They're not that
Yeah,
expensive. You could get a nice one
yeah.
if you wanted to.
So, yeah,
It's like,
no,
then do you even want to go down that rabbit hole? That's another rabbit hole. You can go. You can
well,
get sucked down the vinyl rabbit
play
hole.
these records. Yep. So
Yeah.
maybe Andrew will want some of these records.
I bet you he will.
I know his uncle gave him a peach crate full of his LPs, and I think Amanda
Good.
got some of them too. But he had some classics in there, the whole Joni Mitchell library, um, and a lot of the Laurel Canyon folks,
Yeah.
that whole thing. So
You know what Joni Mitchell I like? Shadows and Light. That one.
yeah.
That's a good one.
Pat
Santa Barbara
Metheny.
Bowl. Is that where?
Yeah, I've got that DVD. Yeah, that
Do you?
it
Jaco
was
Pastorius.
yeah, Jocko, Pat Metheny, Lyle Mays.
Yeah. Because you're a
and
Pat
Michael
Metheny guy.
Brecker.
This is something all Morells are Pat Metheny guys.
Listen, those kids, both of them, they had Pat Metheny in the womb. We had the headphones right on their mother's
It's so
belly.
specific. It's so specific. I love that. I love that. That's one of your family bands or one of your family artists. It's so funny.
Yeah.
All right, hard pivot, Doug. Let's talk to
I know.
let's talk about this album, and specifically like how you came to discover it, what your relationship has been with it over time, like why you're bringing it before us, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, like everybody, the name of Les Paul is synonymous with the electric guitar, and I recall, like, over the past 20, 30 years, Les Paul himself would turn up at various things, like maybe at a Grammy Awards ceremony, they'd have him, saying, "And here's Les Paul,"
Sure. Yeah.
and
Like
trot
a
out the old,
sideshow.
yeah,
He's
the
a
old
human
guy,
being.
yeah, and he'd have he'd do his finger picking style and all that kind of stuff,
Sure.
but what got me a little bit, brought him more on my radar was, I'd say it's about 15 years ago. I think it was around 2010. Jeff Beck did an album called Jeff Beck's Rock and Roll Party, and it was a celebration
name.
of Les Paul's 95th birthday, I think it was.
Okay.
Because he lived to either 100 or almost 100, I think.
I thought it was like 94 or something. I think he made it. So if it was 2010, I think he actually had. I think he might have just. If it was 2010, was he around for this? Was he alive for this?
Well, maybe he didn't even make the party. I don't know. I should go look it up. Look that. But so
he died
Jeff
in 2009.
Yeah, August 2009.
Okay.
August 2009.
Well, yeah, maybe this was released in 2010. They may have recorded. I want to say he was there, but so Jeff covered all the Les Paul standards with guest artists, Mel DeMay being a frequent one with the singing, and it was very much the tunes. Again, I think Les Paul's tunes today would be considered rockabilly almost in their styling.
Yeah,
that sounds right. I would agree with that.
And of course Jeff, went through that like nothing. That's right in his wheelhouse.
He eats that for breakfast.
Yeah, right. But it just caught me. It's like, this is what Les Paul did. This is, these are the kinds of tunes he wrote. And then, you get into the detail, and then you really find out, what a trailblazer he was at the time, as you perfectly summarized very, very quickly for 1 minute. So started listening to some of those tunes, and then when you understand the technology that they use to do these things, it just is mind blowing.
It is
that they were able to do this. He and Mary were able to accomplish what they did with the technology at hand, which was really zero.
It was primitive, wasn't it? So for the edification of our listeners and viewers, when we say among the things that he invented, where he invented that little thing that goes over your neck that you can play the harmonica on, the like
Yeah.
while you're playing guitar. He invented that. Isn't that crazy? So he's the one that invented that. And then he also, the thing that we're talking about specifically with How High the Moon is multi-track recording, right?
Well,
Which,
yes, well, to make a distinction,
mm-hmm,
multi-track today means that you have a recording device that records, I don't know, up to like 32, 64
a bunch. Yeah.
tracks,
Yeah.
okay, on it. Um, but back when he first started doing this, it was a single track,
Right.
physical track on a tape. And what he and Mary did was he built a studio in his garage in Hollywood. Now you may think that all this stuff came out of Nashville just based on the genre,
Yeah.
but he was
Yeah.
in Hollywood. He built a
Which I
studio in his
love.
garage to his exacting standards and tweaked, to just get the sound properties right, recording properties. But really, the way this thing worked was he and Mary would lay down a track or a single recording,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would rewind the tape. And this is reel to reel tape, big things
Yeah.
on a table, right?
Right.
And they would play that tape back and have a second reel to reel machine next to it with the microphones plugged in. And they had speakers connected to the first set. And
Yeah.
they would replay the thing they just recorded, and then they'd record another track
Separate track.
alongside with that as the like background audio.
Yeah.
And they would do this over and over to get this really wild layering sound
Yeah.
that you find in these songs. And Mary's she must have had perfect pitch or something, the way that she could hit these really tight harmonies
Yeah, man.
that it sounds like a chorus in
It
there,
does.
but it's
Closer than
her.
a chorus. It's tighter than a chorus. It's like these tiny little, very, very tightly layered tracks.
Yeah. And today you'd say, "Oh, that's auto tune, right? Doing that."
Yeah.
And but no, it's her, and and they would keep
Ghostly.
doing this. And if they made a mistake, they'd have to start over and do the whole thing again.
I was gonna say she essentially like one take each time to get that. Otherwise, like start over.
Yeah,
A spiritual predecessor of our friend Wendy Carlos.
that's right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But then see what that opened up with Les is that as like the harmonica thing, Les was an engineer, so he was always thinking about how can I make my life more efficient. How can I play the harmonica at the same time as the guitar? Well, I'm going to
Yeah.
get a brace to hold it up there around my neck. But how can I not record all this stuff over and over again in my garage? I'm going to invent a multi-head recorder. So in like 1958 or so, I think he invented the first multi-track recording device that Ampeg eventually licensed, and that really took things off with recordings, and really led to the development of stereo sound and stuff like that, because now you could have four things coming in at the same time, and when you mastered it, you could pan and do all kinds of things. So the stereophonic stuff really took off at that same time with the multi-track recording.
Do you have a sense of like what the motivation was for him? Because that's something I feel like I didn't really pick up on. Was he like was he like trying to change music, or like how did he approach? What do you think was of interest to him?
I think he was like your typical inventor that's just had this boundless curiosity about stuff. So it's like, okay, I did this. Now, what can I do next with it? How can I improve that? What else can I do?
Right.
So yeah, that's where it went.
Almost from like a kind of like mathematician's mind, that he's thinking of things and like problems and solutions and challenges, maybe like a real engineering mindset.
Yeah, it's like, we didn't know what we didn't know, but Les was going to find out,
Yeah.
And so we have
Crazy.
we have that same basis of technology that, of course, is now all digital, but it's still, it's being used today. Somebody probably would have invented this stuff if he didn't, right? But but he was the one, and it just came out of his garage. That's the crazy thing.
It's the American dream. That's what it is.
Where does he fit in the sort of like chronology of the history of the electric guitar? I tried to do look up a little bit about that, and I would love it if there must be a book out there someone has written about like how the electric guitar has evolved over time. Like, where does he sit on the timeline, and what was the thing, aside from all this recording stuff that he did, what's the thing he did that like pushed us closer to where we are today in terms of how electric guitars sound?
Yeah, he is in a lot of things typical with him. He improved upon a concept, and I think Leo Fender of Fender Stratocaster, Fender guitars already had an electric guitar out, and Les wasn't happy with it because there were some aspects of it that he that he didn't find suited for its recordings and stuff. And I think a lot of it was feedback hum and stuff. So Les invented these things called humbuckers that are attached to built into the guitar, and very useful. And he also, from what I hear from musicians who play the electric guitar or have some knowledge of it, much more than me, the Les Paul guitar, the one made by Gibson, is known for its sustain. The ability to hit a note and it rings for a while. Whereas the Fenders were less so known for that.
That was the Stratocaster? Was that what it was?
Stratocaster, Telecaster, and I think Broadcaster was the first, among the first.
So they
Fender
were the
guitars.
ones that had a comparable amount of sustain to the Les Paul.
Oh no, the Les Paul had more. The Les Paul went beyond that. It really set the bar for, if you were one of those guys, especially the rock guys that like to wail on a note and just let it hold while the band is jamming underneath you. Think Jimmy Page.
Sure. So
Jimmy
and then
Page's.
This led on to, I think if my research was correct, it was a roughly 12-year period that they were making this one before they then released the SG, which was the kind of successor of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
stands
then
for
they
solid,
brought back
solid guitar. Is that what it is?
I'm not sure what the SG was, but see, by that time, Les was really not. Les was never an employee of Gibson.
No.
He was a consultant.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And they recognized, having his name on a guitar when they first, they wanted something better than what Leo Fender had. And then, so they developed, they knew he had something in the works, and they put his name on this guitar. Now, the interesting thing is about the Les Paul guitar to me is that he very rarely used it in any of his recordings.
Oh. But he used a prototype of it, though, right? And
he used his prototype that he called the Log because he felt that it had more stable tuning and was quieter because he was doing this recording of recordings.
Right.
I mean, he couldn't have any background noise, any hum from the amps or anything, so he was able to dial all that stuff out. But,
Crazy.
He very rarely used his own signature guitar.
It would be kind of weird, right? It's a little bit like voting for yourself. Like if you're president, okay, here's a hypothetical for you too. If you were running for president, would you vote for yourself?
Yeah. Well, I don't know
what the right answer is here.
I go to car shows and I vote for myself. Everybody does.
You vote for Tang and Limoncello?
That's right.
Good for you.
That's right.
What about you, Michael? Would you vote for yourself? Or would you
I guess so. I'm never going into politics. There's no way.
We're officially announcing that neither Michael nor I will ever run for elected office.
No, I'm not. I'm on the HOA here at the neighborhood, and that's enough for me.
That's enough.
God, yeah. Wasn't she the president of their HOA?
And in the condo association.
In the condo, yeah. God love her. Of course she was.
God love you. I've heard stories like my aunt and uncle in the development that they moved into of like them getting fined for having their Christmas decorations up after January 6th, or if like the ribbon wasn't red during Christmas. It was like, ridiculous things they were getting in trouble for.
We don't have any rules like that, but we just have, stupid petty stuff that we have to deal with. And
drainage and stuff like that, property line stuff.
Yeah,
parking,
fences,
parking stuff.
Parking. Their boat is on their lot too long.
I don't want to see your damn boat.
We had to actually this week we had to threaten to tow some guy's boat.
Was it on the street? Doug, what are you
No,
doing?
it was in his driveway. No.
Oh God.
So, anyways, back to Les. Yes,
Les,
the innovator. The
what do you
the
love
guitar.
about it? What do you love about the song? The experience of listening to it.
Oh, I think the harmonies are really what sells it.
Yeah.
The snappy. All these tunes are snappy,
Quick.
and they're short. 2 minutes. Who knows how long it takes them to make them, but just
That's
2 minutes
true.
or so each.
Yeah.
And they were pretty big hits as far as popular music goes back then. So yeah, it's her harmonies that his playing. Yeah, he's back there, ping ping ping, plucking away and stuff. But I think it's her harmonies that really draw people in.
They have they're so intimately connected, the guitar sound and her voice. Like it almost becomes one thing in a very, I don't know, a very believable way, I guess is how you could say it. Mm-hmm.
And there's one tune that was of theirs that was called Tiger Rag, that was just him.
Yes.
And that's a real good showcase of what he could do at the time. I don't know what, it was 1952 or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you read about the experience, like some singers talking about the experience of like the Andrews sisters. You might have read that quote from the Andrews sisters, one of the maybe Kathleen Andrews or something like that. And she was talking about how he was able to improvise with them and like was so quick, was such a quick player that they would go up and they would improvise lines over an underlying guitar line, and he would be able to match them as they did it. That's how quick, that's how dialed in he was to their individual notes and their individual like performing energy. That's insane to me.
Yeah. He was definitely, the technical, the inventor, all that, but his musical chops were really second to none.
Yeah. That's cool. That's wild.
And that's a rare combination to have that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, we got to get on to your standout track. This is, like this, I feel like this track, How High the Moon, has come out on, if this is, are we talking about, this is worth clarifying, right? So when How High the Moon is, when you refer to that, you're referring to which album, quote unquote? Are you referring to the single, or are you referring to one of the compilation discs was it Greatest Hits that you said was the one that you were listening to?
Yeah, that would be the single. Then I think
about the single.
The single How High the Moon.
Okay.
It does appear, yes, on the Greatest Hits album, and I think it probably, I'm not sure which album it was on at the time, if there even was an album, because they didn't do much albums then.
Right,
because they did a lot of 45s and 78s.
Michael and I were talking about this beforehand, and I was like, so it's the single, right? And he goes, no, that's the album. It's the album called How High the Moon. And I was like, oh, I think there's something we need to clarify in this episode, because if this is the single that you're nominating, it would be the first single allowed into the Pantheon ever. We haven't allowed that yet. Michael, are we going to take that under advisement?
Well, I mean, what are you talking? What's the B-side then?
That I don't know. It's just that you look at their catalog and there's so many
individual things. Mm-hmm.
It's just, and it's reconstituted in many different ways. So you get the same songs on different so-called albums, but are they reissues or what?
Yeah, I'm willing to accept the single nomination so by default, since it's the only track on the single, it is the standout track, I suppose. If you're watching on YouTube, you can we're going to take a brief pause for our YouTube friends. They can see the song and then come on back and see us on the other side. All right?